Yeah. NuBreed. Finesse, finagle. I'ma have to lay low. Secret agents on my block trying to drain souls. They hate my range, giving glory as the fame grows. Switch whips, cut the fro, had to change clothes. City workers front yard trying to dig holes. Can't talk about the planes and the drones or the IG honey trap, dirty stank hoes. I've been making many foes, Lord, I must be getting close. Let's talk. Those pro-black fists turned to rainbows. I peeped your whole angle, no community expansion. Where you at? BLM, nigga, buying large mansions. While the streets getting hungry, I'm steady pistol packing. Vest under my jacket, blade under my ratchet, brass knuckles in my khaki. Stay humble, never flash. Stay ready for whatever, like Inspector Gadget. I'm incognito, but all around the atlas. Can't find me like Nemo. Death before dishonor, your honor, that's my credo. Now go and get them Hollywood pedos, before I burn this bitch down like Nero. I see them watching shapeshifters and witches, having rituals, casket with my pictures. They talk about me breaking bread, didn't know I was listening. Finesse, finagle, I'ma have to lay low. Secret agents on my block trying to drain souls. They hate my range, giving glory as the fame grows. Switch whips, cut the fro, had to change clothes. Finesse, finagle. Finesse, this the way though. I'm faceless, nameless, with a golden plated stainless. Dark shades for the strangers, landmines for the haters. Spectators watching, but I move without a sound. Toboggan on my head, leather gloves, I be around. They got my phone tapped, I'm hearing clicks on the dial. VPN.
Welcome to another episode of Kicking It with Soul. Tonight we're going to be talking about the fact that there is no heathen above you now. If it's your first time with us, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let us know you want to hang around. We're definitely going to be kicking back, and we'd love for you to kick it with us too. So we're going to get straight into a couple of things tonight. Number one, I really hope that you guys can hear me this evening. Last week on our inaugural episode, there were serious audio issues, and we definitely don't want to continue on with that. We're going to jump into a few things tonight. First of all, I want to say thank you for everyone that watched last week, that gave me feedback. I know that a lot of you won't be able to make it live, but this is just the first of many things that I plan to do with the channel. This channel is going to be basically biblical, but as the soulmate, I have interest in a wide variety of subjects, social, mental health issues, as well as biblical issues. So I'll be doing my best to teach myself a lot of the things that I would need to do to make this channel interactive for everyone. Alluding to the last video, back to the audio being so messed up and everything, I decided I'm going to leave that video up. I don't need to take it down, to get on here and do what it is I'm doing. It's basically, as a person that, has dealt with issues in terms of ego in the past, this definitely is an ego check. I am not going to come on social media and do what I feel the Lord is calling me to do if I feel like there's going to be any ego involved, because that's how you can get yourself in the world of hurt. So for me, my thing is, like I said, I'm going to get on here. I'm going to give you the ingredients that I have. I'm going to give you the ingredients that I use to whip that stir fry. God gave them to me. I'm just laying it out. I'll let you look in my kitchen. If you want to use the ingredients to whip you up a stir fry, that's fine. If there's some ingredients in my stir fry that I'm going to mention on my channel that you're not into, then that's fine as well. The thing about a stir fry is you assemble the ingredients independently. And if there's something that you don't like, if you don't like bean sprouts, if you don't like soy sauce, if you don't like broccoli, you can take it out. So for this channel, we're going to be talking about all the things that I think make a good ingredient, all the things that I think the Lord would have me to say. And I think that somewhere in between there, it's time to have fun, okay? While we fight the enemy, because that's the number one thing is to fight the enemy. So, what I'll also be trying to do is make the content progressive. So, anybody that starts, they can start at the beginning in these really rough early days where the technical difficulties, basic PowerPoint slides. Ultimately, yes, it's looking like an auntie web page, an auntie social media page, but auntie's going to teach herself to do some niche tactics. Okay, I have not been auntie that long, but coming on here, I am going to take on my auntie role as the soul lady and do it for the nieces. I'm going to do it for the aunties. I'm going to do it for the nieces. I'm going to do it for all of us that need it done. You can take what I offer. You can take what the Lord is offering through me. Just you can eat the meat and spit out the bones. And so, since every hero needs a chink in their armor, every heel needs an Achilles tendon, I'm gonna leave that personal video up with the bad audio, and like I hope that you guys can hear me tonight. I am using my headphones. Sadly, I guess since I'm first starting, I don't really got anybody online to holler back at me, but I'm gonna do this for the sake of doing it. I'm gonna do this for the sake of those that's gonna come along after and listen to these messages. I'm gonna do it for the sake of the Lord. And like I told you guys at the beginning, I am committed to doing this for a year. So if you want to kick it with me, if you find that you value what I'm saying, the validity of what I'm saying, and what we'll be dialing into, then just if you see it, if you think it, you say it. Comment, like, share, subscribe. It's all good. Do nothing. Just watch. Take it in. The content's gonna get loaded anyway. The messages are gonna get loaded anyway. But if you find that you do like kicking it with soul, then reach out and let me know. If there's content that you want me to bring forward, if I can bring forward that content and frame it biblically, socially, and if it's responsible content and I can responsibly talk about it from my end in terms of how I feel and in terms of getting feedback, then I'll be happy to do that, okay? So we may not all agree on everything, but if we do agree on some things and you want to rock with me, then let's see where it grows, okay? So tonight's topic is there is no heathen above you now. Okay, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So let's dig into it. If you like that song at the top, that song I'm really digging that song with that 007 beat. That is NuBreed. He's at NuBreed Music and Motivation on YouTube. Also, you can find him NuBreed. NuBreed Tell the World Over. He is an amazing content creator. I really do like him. If you get a chance, check him out. He really, along with my homegirl Empress Jetty, they really encouraged me to finally take the lead and bring some of this teaching and some of this fire that I have for the Lord forward to the world stage. And let's see if we can do this. Okay. So starting off, there is no heathen above you now. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So, Judah's 400 years of modern slavery came to an end. I want to say, let's put this in studio mode. Yeah, y'all don't really need to see me. Came to an end somewhere circa 2019. There's a lot of talk about when exactly people have calculated when we came out of this, modern day era of slavery. We know that as people of the book, we were called into slavery prior, and we know that we were released from slavery. Um, we can surmise that the 400 years would have left us somewhere around 2019, maybe heading into 2019, heading into 2020, and that would have pretty much seemingly concurrently coincided with um, humanity as a whole, for the first time in modern history, being forced into a quarantine due to a virus pandemic. Because I am going to make sure that I don't have to go toe to toe with any algorithms. For those of you that really, know what's going on and, may have seen my content on Twitter or want to know if I'm going to attack those themes, I definitely am going to. Some of the things that are going on do need to be addressed. But again, we now, as content creators, will have to tangle with the algorithms. You don't want to go through all of this to put up content and then it gets taken down. Excuse me, guys. Tonight. And it doesn't, you don't want your content to get put down, taken down. So we're going to dance with the algorithms a little bit. I've got some tricks up my sleeve, and we're definitely going to get the content and the information out to people that need it, people that want to go deep into the information. We can do that. If we build up a decent following on this channel and you guys then want to talk about the things that will be too hot for YouTube, we can definitely jump over to Patreon. But personally, I'm going to enjoy getting my feet wet and bringing content to you guys. But I definitely don't want to let this social media providing for you guys on a platform. I don't want it to take over, take center stage, or take the place of some projects that I know that the Lord really has for me to work on. So I'm definitely going to do my best to tiptoe through the tulips, get you guys some teachings, some information that I just found helpful, some of the Hebrew learning that I did, some of the Hebrew Christian roots concepts that I learned under Rabbi Messer. All of these things I'll be more than happy to bring forward on the channel. And you guys, like I said, eat the meat, spit out the bones, and you just let me know how you feel. Comments and views and things like that are so important to content creators. But I think the most important thing is just so we know that you are fulfilled, just so we know that you're happy. It's I have to say, even for me, I do have a little bit of skill, but it's serious to try to get content out, and you think, oh, you're going to go live in another couple of days. Well, the days go by fast, and if you want to put together good content, then it takes time. So I definitely, just even by this being my second live, I have so much respect. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all are Eastern Standard Time. I'm an hour later, so pardon me. I really have so much respect for content creators, people that grind and do it for years and years. It's something now, because this channel is going to be mostly biblical based. The Bible is real big, and if it's going to be socially based, then the world is real big. I am a mental health counselor. I'm going to deal with mental health issues, socioeconomic issues. It's going to be across the board. So it's a big, wide world. It's a big, wide world of content. That doesn't mean that it's easy that doesn't mean that it's easy to come up with stuff, or to put your best foot forward and make sure that you are giving your audience something that they can be proud of, something that they want to engage with. So just know that I bear all those things in mind, and I definitely will do my best to get this out for you. Okay, so back to Judah. So 400 years years of modern slavery came to an end circa 2019. Okay. Uh, Seemingly concurrent. Let me put my overlay up actually. I don't have my overlay with my, see if I put that up, then you'll see, you won't see the slide, but they say grading is important, so I guess I'll just leave it right now. Um, you guys will get to see it. Yeah, so, Judah's 400 years of modern slavery came to an end circa 2019, seemingly concurrent to humanity as a whole, for the first time in modern history, forced into a quarantine due to a virus pandemic. Also, seemingly concurrently, the earth entered a paradigm shift. Prophecy fulfillment, the Great Awakening, 5D Earth, Age of Aquarius. It all seems to be happening at the same time. Whatever you call it, it all seems to be happening at the same time. And if you feel it, then you know what I'm talking about. When it comes to this, the people that felt this shift, they may not be really in a debate kind of mood when it comes to whether or not this happened, because everybody really felt it happen. And so, like, in terms of, whether or not we can debate somebody of whether or not this really, really happened, we don't have a choice because we felt it and we know it happened, right? The lesson is more important, so we're going to take that banner off for tonight. So, what I'm doing tonight is I'm going on the record to say that I find the timing of all of this very suspect. I find the timing that Judah's 400 years of slavery was over, seemingly concurrent with a blanket quarantine virus pandemic that we know at this point escaped from a lab. How it escaped, people still like to debate, but we know for a fact that it was manufactured and it was caused to escape from a lab at the same time that Judah's 400 years of modern slavery were coming to an end. Again, I am going on the record to say that I find this timing suspect, to say the least. In terms of the 5D Earth, for those of you that might be just hearing about it or just wondering about it, I mean, if you're in the YouTube streets, then it's not new to you. But again, I am trying to parcel out this information, especially for people that may not have heard of any of these terminologies or just want to know, like, what is going on? What are all these people talking about? Or if you know me in personal life, like, what the heck is Nikki talking about? Like, people may have thought that it was time for me to go to the crazy house last year when we were coming through the Great Awakening. But being that we were in quarantine, my family didn't know that I was experiencing the Great Awakening. My family probably thought it was time for me to go to the crazy house. But when we got out of quarantine and the floodgates of the internet reopened, we learned that many, 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 many people experienced this shift, this paradigm shift that the earth has gone through. And like I said, whether you are down with Yeshua, whether you rock with Buddha, whether you are over there with whoever you're with, every person that experienced this shift is not a Bible-thumping, believing Christian. In fact, a lot of Bible-thumping, believing Christians that I know did not feel the shift. So what do I attest that to? I'm not going to go into that tonight. I do find that it's very interesting, however, okay? But I definitely say that that's a topic that I'll be touching on soon. But it's dicey. It's really dicey when you come for people's religions. It's dicey when you come for people's thought processes. It's dicey when you come for their paradigms. It's dicey, and you have to. And that's why I want this channel and the content that I push to be more progressive, just because you can refer somebody back and say, okay, if you need the milk, Is back in the earlier videos, we talked about it. You can, follow it as it goes through. So we do have a baseline where we're starting, and we talked about that earlier in the week. We talked about the fact that on this channel that we accept Yeshua HaMashiach as the risen Lord and Savior. We touched about the fact that we do see things. We're digging in the scene with the Hebrew lean. We look at things through a little bit of a Hebrew lens. We honor Yeshua's sacrifice, the blood sacrifice that he made for us, that his name is signed on the blood contract that we, walk through this earth with. Okay? Just like back in the days when Judah was in active slavery, not in the economic or financial slavery that they're in now. When Judah was in active physical slavery, Judah needed to have walking papers. Judah needed to have something that identified that they were able to walk through the town or be on the train or be wherever they were at. And if they didn't have walking papers, they were beaten, hanged, killed. It's just, you had to have your walking papers. If you were caught without your walking papers, then you were in trouble. Those walking papers may now be known as ID. If you're caught without your ID in modern times, you could be lynched, you could be hanged, you could be shot. So there's something about these papers and ID, and there's something that ties you to your identity on this earth. And you may have to spill blood on this earth if your ID is not correct. And that's a real thing for so many people. Well, guess what? In the spiritual world, because we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness. In the spiritual world, if you don't have your walking papers, just like when we were in slavery, if you don't have your walking papers, then you're in trouble. And your walking papers are signed by one of two masters. Your walking papers are either signed by Yah or they're signed by Hasatan. And in the Hebrew, that's what we call our enemy, Satan. Okay? So here I am going on the record to say that I find the timing of all of these sociological issues that we're going through right now to be very suspect. And just to explain here, we have our pictographs. These are some illustrative renderings of kind of what people feel is really going on with the splitting of the earth and the splitting of the people, the wheat and the tares. It's happening now. Okay, so you have here a picture. I guess it's kind of trying to denote egg, and you see that the old earth is breaking open, and you see a new earth coming out, and you have the scriptures that say, that the New Jerusalem will be upon us. It will be here. Okay, so down here, you have another pictograph of it, and this one, you see it kind of starts back 2009. You kind of have that 2012 Mayan calendar. You have some people that say, well, 2012 is really 2021. We'll get into all that. That's Get Progressive on the channel. But a lot of people feel that we, and I feel it as well, I feel this shift, this split, and in fact, I went on live on Facebook at the time and did, I think was my first live video, because I felt like Henny Penny, like the sky was falling, because I kept feeling this strong shift. But now we know that the sky is falling, and the sky is going to rip open, and we are going to see the glory of the Lord. But there's work to be done first, and that's what brings me to the point where I am now. There's work to be done. Okay, so we're going to move forward and do it. So here you have a rendering of the splitting. Okay, so what you really have, and these aren't even the best ones. I wanted to find a really, really good one that I had, but I couldn't get it at the time. But these will serve the purpose to give you an idea. There's the thought, and it's more than a thought. This is what's happening, and I can go on record because I am feeling it. There's others who feel it. I mean, all you have to do is Google the Great Awakening. All you have to do is Google 5D Earth, and you'll see that this is physically happening now. Okay, where do you stand? In order for this title to apply to you, that there is no heathen above you now, where do you need to stand? Well, right here, you can start to get an idea. Okay, so in 2012, when the Mayans said that we were at the end of the world, we were not so much at the end of the world, we're at the end of an age. Okay, and so you got to look at English, it's real tricky. All right, so we were at the end of an age, and if you really sit and think back on it now, that we're in a post-COVID society, you know, where you had post-modernism, now you have post-COVIDism. Don't steal that. I'll do a video on it. You heard it here first. If we haven't heard it already, Google it. But you have post-COVIDism, okay? And that is going to come with its own can of worms. But you see right here at about 2012, kind of started splitting off, okay? And you're going to have people that want to go with the positive, and you're going to see people who want to go with the negative. They're going to go with the negative, okay? And there's not anything that you can do to stop this. You can preach, you can reach, you can teach, but you cannot stop this split from happening. You cannot stop the falling away from happening. You cannot stop the wheat from separating from the tares. You cannot stop this. This is happening, okay? So what should we do? So in order for this title to apply for you, let's look at a couple of things. Most people will fall into one of three categories. Okay, so at first you pretty much find yourself your natural born sinner. You know, we're born in sin. We're all born in sin, and we're all in need of redemption. Remember the blood contract. Okay, so we're going to try to build on concepts so that we can move forward and we don't have to keep reminding of what this is or what that is. Right? We're going to build a progressive body of work. Okay. So we're all born in sin. We are all in need of redemption. Remember the blood contract. So sin, the Hebrew word for sin is chata. Chata. You say the CH in Hebrew with a hard. So chata means to miss the mark, to wander off course. Okay? To repent in Hebrew is teshuvah. Teshuvah. That means to return. Okay? Return to what? Return to the righteous path. So there's obviously something here that lets you know, oh, there's room for if I kind of make a mistake and I kind of wander off from God. Wander off? How long or far does anybody have to wander off from God? That's an individual thing. There are people who can wander off from God and be separate from God and living a life off course for many, many years. There could be some people that they go off course and within 1 or 2 years they may be passed from this earth, or they may be falling so far bottom like the prodigal son, and they have to look up. And you have people that could live for 10, 20 years like that. I'm not one of those people that could live 10, 20 years far from God. I got called to the carpet pretty much every couple of years, or every time I really tried to bust it wide open. I could not really get full city girl on God. He wasn't really with it. But you don't want to be a person that God will just let go. You want to be a person that God will keep reeling in. Otherwise, you will get very hard to God. You will get cynical. Your heart will get hard to reach, and then He can't reach you anymore. So then there's no redemption. Okay, so natural born sinner, you know, and especially before you come to Yeshua, you're ignorant. So that's why they say the law is made for you once you know the law. Because if you're outside of the law, then you don't know the law. Okay, you don't know that law exists. You're lawless. But sinning after you receive redemption through Yeshua, well then, okay, so that puts you in the category of a grace abuser, a sinning consistently. If you are in the category of just doing what you will, um, then you're kind of getting to where you're continually missing the mark. You become unapologetic. You become hard-hearted. Well, for you, it would be better if you had never entered the neighborhood. It would be better if you had never accepted the grace, because now you then become unrighteous. Why do you become unrighteous? Because now you know the law. You know the law, and you're choosing not to follow it, right? So you know the law of loving your neighbor. You know the law of putting the widow and the orphan first and being humble. These are the laws, the very basic things that we should do to live with each other. We talked Tuesday about the fact that this burden is actually very light. Okay, so once you become a grace abuser, just do it when you want. There's nothing inside of you that's like, dang God, like I keep like doing that, I keep sinning, like I really don't want to be doing that. How can I not do that anymore? There's nothing inside of you that says these things. Then, and you've accepted Yeshua, then you've gone a little far, and you need to try to find your way back. Now, there's another category. There's a category of the wicked, and the wicked would have you believe that you're with them. Okay, the wicked has done everything they can to overlay our world, our existence, our society, to make you feel as if you're in their camp, so that you just automatically would just give up on God and just be like, it's whatever. I don't really care. I can't do it. I keep sinning. So Jesus can't help me. Yeshua can't help me. I don't care about this Hebrew stuff. Like it's nothing. It's done. That's the trick, hon. Okay, don't fall for it. They are a separate category, period. They do not have anything to do with us. Whether you're an innocent person that hasn't received Yeshua yet, or whether you've received Yeshua and you're somewhere in the valley of decision, like still not fully giving it everything over, still not jumping off the cliff, still dibbling, still dabbling, the enemy will come to you in your ear and will have you believe that you're with him now. Okay? He'll have you believe that, just like Carlito's way, the girl belongs to the club, but she doesn't. Okay? The girl belongs to Yeshua, especially if Yeshua has already signed that blood contract. Unless you rip that contract up, that's up to you. When you rip that contract up, if you intentionally sin, you're telling Yeshua that you're ripping up the contract. Okay? You're telling Yeshua that you're ripping up the contract. Now, Yeshua is not like a used car dealer. If you rip up the contract, he's not going to say, well, you bought it anyway and you still own the car. If you really show him that you're done, then you're done. And he's going to give you over, unless you're of a particular seed. If you're of a particular seed, it's hard, very hard to rip up that contract. You are not really let go very easily. Yeshua, the Lord, Yah, really will chase some of us down, a certain segment of us. He really will chase down. He will not let us get away, okay? But if you are repentant, and like I said, even if you've been one of those people that you've been away from God for 20, 30, 40 years, if you're alive and in your faculties to say, God, wow, I'm sorry. I was close to you once before, and I kind of fell away. I'm in prison. I'm on drugs. I'm out here in these streets. You could be a whatever. If you find yourself in the presence of mind to have any thoughts of saying, I was far from God and now I want to go back, that's your golden ticket. That means that the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, is still with you and is calling you and is calling your spirit to remembrance of your relationship with Yah. But if you're in the category of the wicked, the synagogue of Satan, the liars from the beginning, to include the Nephilim offspring that still walk among us, you don't really have those options. You're in the den of the heathens, and there's no heathen above you now. Okay? You've got to step up though. Step up and take what's yours to keep those heathens off of you. Y'all gonna have to forgive me with these mistakes on these PowerPoint slides. It's aggravating when I see it after, but it is my fault for cutting it so close to the time that I need to go live that I do not have my editing done. This is another chink in my armor. I will do my best to take care of it. But I like the fact that my ego keeps taking these hits. Hashtag death to the ego. So God's promise to protect the righteous. So that's what this says on both sides. Sorry you guys can't see it there, okay? So let's go over some of God's promises to protect the righteous. And next Sabbath night, we're going to continue this lesson. This will be part 1. We're going to continue this lesson and we're going to see what God's promise is to the wicked, okay? But for tonight, we're doing our introduction. We're going to go back here just a little bit just to go over where we've come. Do a quick review. We talked about Judah slavery is over. Seemingly concurrently, we have a whole lot going on here. We've got pretty much 3 categories that people who look like people, appear like people, or try to act like people. If you know, you know. There's levels, okay? There's levels to this. Natural born sinners, we got grace abusers, and we got the wicked, just wicked from the beginning. And how do you stay on the right side of this? How do you stay on the right side of this? You try not to continually miss the mark. God knows in your heart if you're apologizing, what you really mean, like you really enjoy the sin, really indulge in the sin, like He knows the difference. You're not lying to anybody. You're not even lying to yourself. You're, definitely not lying to God. And we're going to deal with this topic for a couple of weeks just because there's a proving process. There's a trying process. It's as to a fiery furnace, to get you to where you'll never be free of sin. It's not about being free of sin or about not sinning at all. That could never happen. If that could happen, then Jesus wouldn't have needed to come. Yeshua would not have needed to lay down his life. But again, he needed to be a bridge. Remember, we talked about that last video. Yeshua is the bridge. He's the bridge that will take you when you reach the point where you can't go any further. There is still a gap between you and the Father. And the only bridge to fill that gap is Yeshua. Okay? Now, should you utilize Yeshua to bridge that gap, and you've done your homework in terms of cleaning up your life, getting yourself together as best you can, because the work, it works, but it takes work. Okay? It takes work. But Yeshua will help you with that. That's what he's here for. The Holy Spirit. Remember, he said he's going to send a helper. That's what the helper is for. Okay? He made it very easy, you guys. It's like almost so easy. Even a caveman could do it. I promise you. Okay? So let's talk about the protection, because I want to make sure that you guys know in a successive fashion that the Lord is here for you. The Lord is here to protect you. He will guide you in your time of trouble. And we're going to look at a couple of scriptures, okay? And again, I definitely want to make these videos as short as necessary, as short as needed, but as long as necessary, okay? Make them as short as they need to be, but as long as necessary. Again, I apologize that I am not quite sure yet what is going on with some of these comments, but I'm going to make sure that I can learn how to make sure that I'm checking in with you guys, um, and seeing what can be done in order to get these comments popping while I'm live. I think I have to change like my personal Facebook permissions or whatever to see, but it's not like this channel's even popping yet. But ask for a thing, believe in a thing, act on a thing, and you will have that thing. Death to the ego. This is about getting the word out, but I do want a lot of people on here to get the word. So anyway, moving on, we're gonna start wrapping up. I want to keep these all at under an hour. So how can you make sure that there's no heathen above you? Stay in the category, color in between the lines. Don't be a grace abuser. Don't get an unrepentant heart and just sin and sin and sin. And what does God promise to do? In order to protect you, stay away from the temptations of the devil. The Lord says, all you have to do is resist the devil. Okay? He didn't even say fight the devil. He didn't say put up your dukes. He didn't say grab your clock. He ain't say none of that. He said resist the devil. So basically that means like just stand firm. Just be like, nah. If the devil try to get you to do something 2-3 times and you just be like, nah, I'm not doing it, he's gonna go find somebody else to bother, because in your heart, deep, deep, deep down, if you really mean no, no is no. But if you got a little seed of sin there that you've been watering, and we'll touch more on this next time too. If you have a little seed there that you've been watering, and the devil comes along, he's sprinkling some water on it, and you just halfway saying no, he come again. You halfway saying no, but you letting some water sprinkle on that seed gonna grow and grow and grow. The same way if you water good seed, if you water bad seed, it's gonna grow too. But if you try to be consistent on that good seed and try to resist, there's promises that's coming your way. And we're gonna go over a lot of promises on this channel. We're gonna go over promises to the righteous, promises to the unrighteous. We're gonna go over promises to the wicked within these next 2-3 weeks. That's really where we're starting out, because that's foundational. What are the promises to the righteous? How do I live righteous? How do I stay on the righteous path? What's waiting on the other side? Should I choose wickedness? We're going to go over all that, because the one thing that we won't be able to do on that day, we won't be able to stand before the throne and say, I wasn't told. Okay? You're not going to have that option. At least not as it pertains to me. Okay? You're not going to say, I wasn't told. All right? So moving forward, there's no heathen above you now. God's promise to protect the righteous. I think that for these broadcasts, I'm going to stay with the ESV. I am a fan of the KJV, but I just can't get over that it's property of the crown. Y'all going to hear me joke about that a lot. I'm pretty tight about it. Anyway, so let's go over the promises. Well, some of the promises. We're going to start with these tonight. So Psalms 138:7. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. You stretch out your hand against the wrath of my enemies, and your right hand delivers me. Now, you guys are going to notice that in my lives, a lot of times I'm going to be showing scriptures that deal with the topic, but it's not the 1 or 2 handful of scriptures that everybody can just like recite off the top of their head. I mean, I love those, and I can pepper those in my normal conversation, but the Bible touches on these topics in so many other verses, and one of the aims for me that I would like to do with this channel is bring to the forefront some of those verses that's just hidden there, like buried treasure, that speak to the topics that we're talking about, and that you can see, wow, like I didn't know that verse, I didn't see that verse, so that's not a popular verse, but wow, it's right there. The Bible really addresses it. The Bible really says this, okay? So Psalm 91:14, because he holds fast to me in love, I will deliver him. I will protect him because he knows my name. So This one, I really love the knows my name part because when we go back here and we look at these people right here, there's just a thin category here of people that would really know the name of the Lord. It would be the people that accepted redemption through Yeshua, do their very best not to be a grace abuser, don't continually miss the mark, don't become unrighteous and hard in heart, but continue to repent. Repent. Wander off course. See, if you wander off course, then you can wander back. But if you just go off the reservation, you're just gone, you may not find your way back. It will be only the grace of God that will help you find your way back. So you got to be careful in these streets because they hot right now. This is it. We're looking at the front door. This is not time to be out here playing, okay? Especially as a young person. More promises to protect the righteous. Proverbs 19:23. The fear of the Lord leads to life, and whoever has it rests satisfied. He will not be visited by harm. 2 Timothy 4:18. The Lord will rescue me from every evil deed and bring me safely into his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. God's promise to protect the righteous. Continue. 2 Thessalonians 3:3. But the Lord is faithful. He will establish you and guard you against the evil one. 1 John 5:18. We know that everyone who has been born of God does not keep sinning. We talked about this, okay? So you don't keep sinning. You may wander off course, but you come back. You're repentant. But he who was born of God protects him. He who was born of God, that's Yeshua. And the evil one does not touch him. So who's in the gap? 1 John 5:18 tells you right here. We know that everyone who has been born of God does not keep sinning. But he who was born of God protects him. See, if we're born of Yeshua, then we're born of God because Yeshua was born of God. And we're born of him. You understand? So God's promise to protect. Revelations 3:10. Because you have kept my word about patient endurance, I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on the whole world to try those that dwell on the earth. The hour of trial that is coming on the whole world to try those that dwell on the earth. So there's a test that's coming, and it's more than a test, it's a trial that is coming to try all of humanity. What will that test look like? Who will be able to stand? What would the powers that be, how far would they go? What would they do to hide who goes next? God is still listening for our prayers. Even though we're at this end time, God is still listening to our prayers. Well, a lot of people say beginning of the end. We can say beginning of the end. We can say end. We can say the split. We can say the Great Awakening. Whatever time you think it is, that's what time it is. Okay? That's point blank. So how do we know that God is still listening? Even in this specifically, or as they say, specifically, during this time, what does he say? In Isaiah 9:18-21, he says, for wickedness burns like a fire. It consumes briars and thorns. It kindles the thickets of the forest, and they roll upward in a column of smoke. You guys, we've been seeing a lot of smoke, right? We've been seeing a lot of wickedness burn. We've been seeing wickedness burn like a fire, and we've been seeing real fire. We've been seeing wickedness burn us up on the earth like a fire, consuming briars and thorns, kindling the thickets of the forest, and then rolling upward in a column of smoke. But through the wrath of the Lord of hosts, the land is scorched. So we're seeing a lot of burning here, and it's coming from a couple of sides. We're seeing wickedness burning like a fire, and we're seeing through the wrath of the Lord of hosts, the land is scorched, and the people are like fuel for the fire. So this test and this trial, this is what it's going to look like. The people themselves are going to be indispensable, like kindling, like science experiments, one might say. No one spares another. They slice meat on the right, but they're still hungry. They devour on the left, but they're not satisfied. Each devours the flesh of his own arm, of his own arm. Manasseh devours Ephraim, and Ephraim devours Manasseh. Together they are against Judah. Together they are against Judah. Judah has had a very uphill battle to climb, but it's time to turn it around, brother. It's time to turn it around. Because what does the Lord say here? For all this, his anger has not turned away, and his hand is stretched out still. But tick tock, guys. Tick tock. The clock is ticking, and decisions have to be made. Right now, if you have any spiritual sense of self, then you're on one side of the fence or another. If you are still living a life that's steeped in sin, just start to ponder on it. Just start to say, do I need to be doing this? Should I be doing this? If you don't feel like God is with you, if you're like, oh, I used to be down with God, God don't really rock with me like that no more. I don't really rock with God like that no more. What you got to do is get yourself to a quiet place. I always leave y'all with a little life hack or something. If you need that, try to get that connection back, get to a quiet place. Yes, you will have to turn off the media, turn off the TV, get some soothing music, get in a relaxed state, and then just try to go within. Try to go within to your conscience and be like, God, I need to talk to you. Things are out of control. I don't know what I'm doing. I need you to help me with everything that's going on. If there's something that you don't want me to be doing, help me make it stop. If you're doing something and you don't want to stop doing it, then just go to the level before that. Just be like, God, I don't want to stop doing it. I'm telling you straight up, God, I don't want to stop doing it. I enjoy doing this. Help me help myself. Make me not want to do it. That'll be the first step. You can be real with God. He already knows that you like doing it. He knows the glee in your heart when you go to do it. So you can just be straight up and be like, God, yes, I really like doing this, but I know that I don't need to be doing it. I shouldn't be doing it. And stuff could be permissible, but it's still not the best for you. So you could be like, God, I know it's okay with you if I do this, but it's not helping me live my best life. So what can I do? And from there, God will take your hand if you're willing to walk step by step, even if you mess up again. Just like, hey, you didn't mean to do that. What's up, God? Holler at me. He will be right there. He will help you. But he cannot help you if you are not unrepentant, if you do not turn it around. You got to turn it around. Teshuvah. Okay? Turn it around, brother. All right? As you start to build these muscles, you will find that there is no heathen above you. They don't even see you now. Once you start to exude the righteousness of God, the power of the line of the tribe of Judah, whether you're grafted in or in by DNA and not a usurper, God will work with you. He will activate you. He will activate your DNA. You will be part of this family, this great awakening that's happening now, this anticipated waiting for Yeshua's return. We're definitely feeling the pressure as mounting in the atmosphere on the earth, and we're excited as Judah, the watchmen, those of us that's on the watchtower, on the wall. For my Game of Thrones people, we on the wall at Castle Black. We are the knights, we are the watchers, and we are saying winter is coming. Winter is coming, but the Lion of the tribe of Judah will put all heads to bed. The Lion of the tribe of Judah is here to slay all the White Walkers while we watch from the wall. We will get into the fray, but all we have to do right now is pray. Pray for a repentant heart. Pray to not be in the class of the wicked. Because the next time we meet, we're going to talk about what's the promise for them. So if you've enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. This is where I'll leave you all. This is the Soul Maiden signing out. And remember, always remember, eagles might trip, but humble never stumbles. This is the Soul Maiden, and I'm out.